I want to apologize again like I did in my last video. If you didn't see that, go and check it out. I really appreciate it. But I recently got sick. My voice sounds kind of gross. I don't know if you can hear it through the audio or through the video or not, but I can certainly hear it as I'm listening to myself. But it come to my attention that I haven't talked about KSI in a couple of months, so I decided to go ahead and see what he was doing, because honestly, throughout the entire month of November, he kind of just like scurried away and like hid in the fucking shadows of darkness or whatever, and just like fell back into his hole and just didn't really do anything, right? Nothing of noteworthy, nothing that was really all that important. And then it came to my attention that he said something about dantdm again, so obviously I had to see what he had to say about that. Before we talk about that, I want to talk about how dantdm had actually responded back to the whole situation between him and KSI and what happened on Twitter. And basically on a podcast episode with Jack Manifold, I think that's what his name is, and Tommy Innit, he was talking about the whole situation and how it was crazy and how it was like sort of like a Game of Thrones moment, and how like everybody from all the corners of the internet came and like defended him and blah 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 blah. And basically the whole like summary of it all was that he thought it was funnier not to feed into it and just watch it all unfold before him. So basically him not responding to it was all done purposefully. He thought it was funnier that he didn't react to this, he didn't feed into it, he didn't say anything in response to KSI after the fact. And yeah, honestly, it really was. It was hilarious seeing KSI continue to keep going down and just downward spiral of just constantly continuing to keep losing his mind and mentioning Dan at every single given point possible. And honestly, it's really embarrassing. It's really embarrassing just to see KSI continuing to keep talking about this. And like I said, he recently talked about or mentioned dantdm at the recent Misfits event, Misfits 019 or Misfits 019, and voice crack by the way. And basically in the clip of what happens, he is talking about Gib, and he sung Gib, and I think Gib has been saying something about the Misfits event or just Misfits in general, trying to like defame the company or whatever. And KSI goes on this whole fucking long ass monologue, this whole promo, like he thinks he's Chris Jericho from the WWE or some shit like that, and he starts talking about how if you disrespect me, you disrespect my company, blah 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 blah, and talking about like, oh fuck Gib for doing this and that and yada yada, like I defend myself, and all of a sudden I'm the one who's the bad guy. And then he says, oh, and by the way, dantdm, oh, if you disrespect me, or you disrespect my company, you disrespect me, and fuck dantdm, and blah 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 blah. And the only thing that I can really think about it the entire time as he's saying this whole thing is, number one, you say that you don't want to be in the WWE, but yet you're cutting the promo and doing the whole shtick of like pausing in between your promo and waiting for the audience reactions as if you're in the WWE. So that's whatever, right? Doesn't really matter. It's kind of entirely superfluous. Doesn't even need to be mentioned. But it's not that no one thinks that you're the bad guy. It's that people are just trying to tell you to shut the fuck up, right? People just want you to stop talking about Dan, because you've been going on about this for 3 fucking months at this point, and no one cares anymore. The only person who genuinely cares about this is you, and you keep crying about this like a giant fucking baby. You're literally the giant floating baby head from Phineas and Ferb. You just show up randomly out of fucking nowhere when no one is thinking about you anymore because you're relevant as fuck and no one cares about you anymore. And then you go say, oh fuck that TDM, and you start saying all this shit about Dan for no reason, and no one cares anymore. I think he had a video posted on his JJ Olatunji channel that currently says he will never be able to do this, and I think it previously had mentioned Dan before. I'm not sure if it had Dan TDM's name before in the title, but I remember hearing and seeing people saying that it did, and if it did, obviously that's just super petty. But he talks about how Dan will never be able to make a song as big as Thick of It and blah 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 blah. And it's like, that's not what Dan is even trying to do. Dan doesn't even make music. You know what he's trying to do? He's trying to work with charities and do something beneficial for charities. Like he recently had made a tweet like a few weeks ago talking about how he donated 120 gaming carts to a charity that he was working with, along with thanks with Nintendo actually helping out and everything. So dantdm is living his life with his family. He's donating to charity. He continues to keep making videos with an audience that still clearly wants to see him. Meanwhile, the entire time, your audience is constantly watching your videos and talking about how Unk is losing his mind, the downfall's crazy, blah 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 blah. It's just all this fucking bullshit, and you just continue to keep talking about it. It's like, give it a rest. Give it a fucking rest, dude. No one cares anymore. The only reason why you care is because you're so butthurt about it. And I mean, it's funny. You know what? I'll give it credit. At least it's entertaining to continue to keep watching his downfall. So, whatever. I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Yeah, honestly, yeah, no, that's pretty much the best way to sum up. It's just that it's funny to see this downfall, and there's not really much else to say about it other than that. Seeing his downfall is absolutely hilarious. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more, please be sure to subscribe. I want to give a channel shout out to Pedro360 for being a channel member. I really appreciate it if you consider joining the memberships. It would be amazing if you did. But without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.